All right, we're here on a special episode of Seent It. Carlos Macias and my beautiful wife, Carissa Macias, on her first podcast presentation. I told her to be really loud. As you guys know, I'm the loudest on the podcast. But this is a very special episode. You don't see a Dalen Kirkwood from up in the mountains, but we'll see him next time. But Dalen, forgive us, man. But we're going to be talking about Gareth Edwards' latest movie. What is the movie called? The Creator. The Creator. We were able to go see it early. We just came home from seeing it, actually. And she's not a... Well, I wouldn't say I'm a professional, but you're not a professional yourself. But I think you're gonna do great. And we'll kind of set up the movie. It is, like I said, by Gareth Edwards. The last movie he did was Star Wars Rogue One. Before that, he did Godzilla, the 2014 remake. Carissa, well, what did you think of those movies, the Godzilla and Star Wars Rogue One? Were you a Gareth Edwards fan, or?
I didn't know he did Godzilla.
Okay, good job. We're starting off on the right foot already. Well, given that new information, apparently, how was the world building in this movie? Did you like kind of what you saw? Like, it is sci-fi. Before the movie started, he did talk about how it was like, you don't see this. We're doing something new. This is a new sci-fi movie. But what do you think? What do you think of the world of it?
It was pretty, I guess, realistic.
Look at the people. You can look at me.
The people.
It was realistic, I guess. That's one way to put it. It was very, like, you can tell that he's coming off of a Star Wars movie. You can tell that he's coming off of a big action budget movie, right?
Star Wars vibes.
The Star Wars and Blade Runner if I may say, did you care about Blade Runner? It was kind of Blade Runner. It wasn't as gritty. Blade Runner is very like gritty. This one's a little cleaner, I guess. Or do you feel like there was grittiness in this one?
No. Not really.
Okay.
It was
pretty clean, I guess. What did you think? So there's a big old machine, and I think you can see it in the marketing. They call it the NOMAD. It's basically kind of if you like video games, it's the Hammer of Dawn from Gears of War. It's kind of similar to that, but it's really cool. What did you think about the lasers? I know, I understand. What did you think of the weapon, the big military weapon? No spoilers. By the way, we're going to talk about spoilers at the end of this. But right now, no spoilers. What do you think of the weapon, the big looming weapon that goes all around the world?
Reminded me of your game Halo, I guess.
Yeah, Gears of War specifically. But was it menacing? Did you feel like it was pretty nice, I think. It was pretty nice.
I don't think it was menacing. I just think... Mm-hmm. It's futuristic.
You didn't like the fact, like, how
Star Wars vibes.
How precise it was? Did you enjoy how precise it was? Like, it was very like very low and like not, once it gets launched, it's like very like we're gonna destroy a lot of things. And coming off of watching Oppenheimer, it's kind of awesome. Well, not, I don't know if awesome, but it's kind of very like, ooh, we're dropping atomic bombs out here.
It's kind of like the human. I don't know. Well, I mean,
look
without,
at the people, Carissa.
Stop telling me what to do. Like War of the Worlds, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
Not the movie version. More of how they explain it in the actual, like, I don't know, radio.
You gotta talk way louder. Version. Look at the volume levels here.
Wow.
Way loud. Just so they hear you. Just so they hear your thoughts. Just so the people hear your thoughts here. So there was big actors, of course. They have John David Washington, who plays Joshua, who's, of course, Denzel Washington's son. I don't know if you know. Gemma Chan was also in it. She was in the TV show Humans, which was kind of cool. I think they really pulled that off, where it's like she was a robot in that show, by the way. I don't know if you watched it. I don't think you did. Eternals, she was in Eternals. That was a kind of a Marvel type thing. Maybe she did some robotic type acting. And then, of course, they did introduce Madeline Yuna Voiles, who plays Alfie, the little girl character in the TV show. How did you like the characters? Did you enjoy those characters? Or what did they pick the right actors, I guess?
There's a few I think they could have done better.
Which one? There was some that you didn't approve of? Look at the people.
I don't think, I mean, and I guess, well, now I know he's Denzel Washington's son. Mm-hmm. But I think he could have done a little better.
He did all right. I think he does all right. I think he did a good enough job with what he was given. You know, we'll talk a little bit about spoilers, I guess, a little bit about that. But I think they did all right. I think they did all right as far as the actors were concerned. I think maybe it was a story kind of a situation maybe that just wasn't all there. What did you think of the AI versus human storyline? We've been seeing that lately. We've been seeing it, for example, like we just saw it in the last Mission Impossible movies. Like, it's the AI. It's the scariest thing that could ever happen to us. And this one, how did you feel? Did you feel like it was kind of like pro AI, anti-AI, or what did you think of that?
More like a mixture of both, I guess. Didn't necessarily feel like they were against it. But it also, I guess, it just showed the pros and cons to what it would be.
Yeah. I think we could go into spoilers because a lot of the movie is that, right? So if you guys are, I know the movie's not out yet, but it does come out at some point, and if some people don't care, and I know we've seen articles online that are like, who cares about the spoilers? It makes it better, it makes the story better. So, but look, we're talking about spoilers. Look, how about this? We'll end it before we go into spoilers. Do you recommend people go watch the movie? Like, or should they be fans of a certain thing to watch it, or what do you think?
No, I don't think they need to be fans of a certain thing. I think they need to go in with expectations that it's
no spoilers, just
sci-fi.
Okay, and it builds the world pretty well. I think it's a pretty good movie. I'm gonna put my written review up as well with the score, but I say go watch it if you're definitely itching for some sci-fi. And like I said earlier, the director himself was like, you don't see this. He really did he put his hands up. He's like, you don't see this original sci-fi. So go watch that, go enjoy that. And like I said, I'll put the review up and you can see my score online. Other than that, let's get into some spoilers. This is my favorite part, by the way, the spoilers part, because we get into the nitty gritty. Spoilers, so we'll give them like, I don't know, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So walk away or step away if you don't want to hear the spoilers. But like we were saying, the story as far as like the AI versus the humans, it's very pro AI. It's very pro AI. All these movies and everything we've seen, and honestly, in how I feel personally, the AI is going to take over if we're not careful. I see it as more of a negative thing, but the movie definitely takes sort of a pro AI stance in going as far as like, you know, you have Denzel's not Denzel, John David Washington's character. You have him like, oh, you just shut them off. They're on off mode. It's fine. They don't feel anything. And of course, eventually he turns it like they are humans. And you have the final shot with the kid. It's like, he's very happy that a human gave up his life for these AIs.
Real
right?
Tears.
Did you cry? Did you have a single tear?
No.
Going on? No? Wow. That's real. You cried at Blue Beetle, though. And that was like, it was pretty good. That was a real tearjerker on Blue Beetle.
That was heart-wrenching.
That was very heart-wrenching. So you don't care about the machines is what you're saying.
No.
You didn't care that they're AI or not.
They don't have any souls.
They make fun of kind of like he says, oh, they're either on, off, or on standby, right? Which is one of the big moments in the movie that is kind of like, go on standby, right? Basically, and it's like the army's like, what did he tell him? It's like, he told him to go on standby. But I think the story is probably like the weakest part of the movie, like the narrative, because it's very like, a lot of things are very like convenient. You know, like he jumps into the water at the right time. He goes like it's very like it's met with, it's a bunch of moments where it's like, oh, how convenient. And then at the very end, of course, the child goes into full like God mode, and he can do everything. He can control all the machines. But what did you think? I guess. What do you think about that? Please argue with me on the story points or something, if you disagree.
No, I don't know. I don't think I disagree. I just think it could have been a better story.
Okay. What do you think
behind it? There could have been a better story behind it.
What do you think it was lacking, I guess, story-wise? Because the world is amazing, I think. It makes you believe. It's very cyberpunk-ish, very cross with, I know you don't play video games, but cyberpunk cross with Blade Runner, which I like. But
no clue
what was it? You know, it's just a cross. But what do you think it was missing then? What do you
Well, just the story. There was no real connection in the story, other than
Not even the mother was pregnant and was giving birth to a tool to save
but
the
she didn't
AI.
give birth to a tool.
True. She was tinkering.
She didn't, yeah.
She was tinkering.
She basically scanned her baby like an ultrasound and made it off of that.
You don't remember the scene where she was tinkering though, kind of poking around? She created. It was really weird because they could have gotten nerdier about that as well.
Incubator, but I don't know. I don't understand how it's supposed to grow, I guess.
There was things that like, so there's things where for me it could have been grittier in a sense, a little more Blade Runner, and it could have been nerdier in a way, like the video games like Cyberpunk 2077, where it's like, oh, we're teaching you how this actually works. You kind of get a sense of it, right? They have a machine that can take the brain out and that they can copy over into a robot, right? But it doesn't really explain. It's like, wait, how did this child be? And it's supposed to be like a big deal.
But if it's made of mechanics don't grow. They don't stretch. They are what they are. So it's like, that doesn't make sense to me.
It didn't do anything for you that they were like, a child? They made a child version? It didn't do anything, which is kind of like the entire premise or the big premise of the movie, right? We're kind of bagging on it though, but still go watch it. They've already seen it, I guess. If you guys are skipping the spoilers, you already saw it, I'm assuming. Or if you're coming back for the spoilers.
If you don't like care for its super intricate story, then
it was a simplistic.
Should be fine.
It was a simplistic story, which I think is okay, can be okay.
Yeah.
And this one has the potential, but it was I guess in a sense it was a complete movie. You can't say it wasn't complete. He did finish it, gave you a beginning, middle, and end. Because sometimes they kind of leave it open, but it's probably one of those things that he was saying. It was hard enough to make this one movie. So it's but it's beautiful. I think the graphics are pretty nice. The sound is kind of Hans Zimmer, which he kind of does everything in Hollywood as far as soundtracks are concerned. But yeah, go watch it. I hope you enjoyed it and discuss it. I guess we kind of came down on it a little bit towards the end there.
I think we have been.
It is what it is. All right. Thank you for joining me, Carissa. I'm Carlos Macias. Carissa Macias. And thank you for joining us. I think you did a pretty good job. We'll see. We'll find out. The internet is uncaring. It's a very cold place.
That's why I avoid it.
We'll see. All right. Latest.